Welcome to Rocky Broad Solar, where we encourage you to make the current flow. On today's episode, we're going to be installing the EG4 FlexBOSS 21, the GridBOSS MID, and 2 indoor wall-mount batteries, 16 kilowatt hours each, paired up with an existing SolarEdge system in an AC coupling scenario. Let's get into it. Alright, so this customer had an existing 7600 watt SolarEdge inverter that was grid tied only. We have now converted that to be AC coupled into the GridBOSS smart ports. So you can see it connects here with this 40 amp breaker, and it is set to AC coupling. So the AC output of that inverter now charges the battery bank. We also have 2 loads here moved to the smart ports for load shedding during an outage. One is his heating and air conditioning system, and the other is his electric water heater. We have it programmed to where once the batteries drop down below 60%, it automatically sheds those loads, so it saves the rest of his battery for more critical loads during an extended outage. Here we've got the service conductors coming out of the meter, now coming into the GridBOSS, into an Eaton CSR 200 amp main breaker. This is what makes the GridBOSS service entrance rated. So this is the new service disconnect. At the first disconnecting means of the service is where you bond your neutrals and grounds, and that is what this little bonding strap is for right here, so that all of our grounds and neutrals are bonded at the first disconnecting means. We have our new grounding electrode conductor now coming out of the GridBOSS, going down here to an inner system bonding jumper. This is now required by code for any GEC. This is where the cable or satellite techs can find an equipment ground for their equipment. Then it goes down here underground to 2 ground roads, 8 feet, that are 6 feet apart. We flagged these out for the inspector so he can easily find them here during that final inspection. Right here we've got our 90 amp breaker that's coming in from the FlexBOSS inverter. That inverter we do not have PV directly connected to, so it's essentially acting as a battery only inverter. That is what takes the battery output, feeds it into the GridBOSS to provide whole home backup to this customer's home. And so the back feed from this SolarEdge inverter travels across the AC bus back through this 90 amp breaker to charge the batteries while AC coupled. And so basically we've got DC coming down from the solar panels into the inverter. It gets transformed to AC current, goes through this disconnect, comes up, lands on this 40 amp backfed breaker. That then puts that up to 32 amps continuous of backfeed current on that AC bus through that 90 amp breaker to charge the batteries, and then the batteries discharge through that 90 amp breaker to provide backup power to the home. Right here we've got our 2 Ethernet cables. This is the communication between the GridBOSS and the FlexBOSS 21 inverter. That is required just so that everything communicates effectively. Right here we've got his existing standby generator plug. This is still connected to his backup panel where he's got a generator interlock kit. So he still has the ability in an outage, worst case scenario, he can run the house off of the generator directly. We've also installed a new generator plug here, inlet, where he can plug in the generator, which connects to the EG4 Chargeverter. Being that it's a 50 amp generator and a Chargeverter only utilizes 30 amps, we have, of course, you need to protect all circuits with some kind of overcurrent device. So here we've got that generator input coming in to a 30 amp breaker, which protects the Chargeverter at its ampacity. So you'll see that 30 amp breaker goes to this output plug. This is a L1430R receptacle where this plug locks in there, and that's what goes to the Chargeverter. So that brings that AC generator power into the Chargeverter Plus. It converts it to DC current, and it sends up to 100 amps DC directly in here to the battery bank. With these new batteries, you've got those lugs right there where you can directly connect the Chargeverter to your batteries. So basically this Chargeverter in this case, being that it's a temporary generator inlet, we're going the safe route. We have the Chargeverter here, which will convert that AC power, clean it up, convert it to DC, charge these batteries directly, and that prevents any surges or any kind of issues caused from connecting a portable generator to an electrical system. If you're out there trying to DIY this system yourself, make sure and go ahead down in that description below. Check out our Rocky Broad Solar Ultimate DIY Guide. It's got a lot of helpful tips on tricks on how to get this system installed in a safe, code-compliant manner, how to choose the right equipment, how to get it past that final inspection. It also has a bunch of deals and discount codes that you can use on top of any other deals going on at this time to save yourself even more money on top of those deals. Let's get back into it. Alright, and here's where our communications wires come in from the FlexBOSS 21 to the GridBOSS. And then we've got our battery communications cable right here in the battery COM port. Coming down here to the CAN bus. We got the comms 2 wire running over here to the opposite battery, to the comms 1 port. We've got those little terminal adapters in the ports that were unused. Right here we've got our output, our 90 amp output from the FlexBOSS coming out of this grid L1 and L2 lugs, headed to the GridBOSS, as well as the neutral and ground on their neutral and ground bars. Here's our positive and negative battery cables. We've got 2 cables coming from the master battery here, because it's carrying the current from both batteries into the FlexBOSS. And we've got 1 set of cables coming over here from the secondary battery into the master. Always make sure that you ground and bond your batteries. It's super important. If there's ever a ground fault, that the overcurrent does trip in the event of a ground fault. In this case, we don't have any DC PV coming straight into the inverter because there was an existing SolarEdge system. We didn't want to get up on the roof and reconfigure any of that. So again, we're not using the PV ports, but if you did have direct DC conductors coming in, this is where they would connect. So here's our 300 amp integrated battery DC disconnect. It's nice having all of these breakers and switches integrated because it's just one less thing that you have to install separately. So here are our battery status indicator lights, showing that we're near 100% charged at this point. Looks like it's probably just topping the battery off. You can see the 25, 50, 75, and 100%. It's running, so I think we are currently charging the battery almost between, again, 75 and 100% charged. Hey, DIY solar is not for everybody. This stuff's complex and difficult. If you're just looking to hire a professional to install solar and storage on your home in the western North Carolina area, go ahead down in that description below. Check out our Rocky Broad Solar intake form where you can just fill out some questions about your specific scenario, and we'll get back to you within a few days with a zero-cost, pressure-free quote. You can also check us out at www.rockybroadsolar.com, or you can just give us a call at the number here, 828-231-8359. Let's get back into it. Here on the side of the battery, we've got an integrated DC disconnect for each battery. This is a 125 amp breaker built in, so you can disconnect the battery there. And of course, we've got the on-off switch here for the BMS. Here below the battery, we have these self-leveling feet, which are nice because it's pretty rare that you ever get a perfectly level floor. And so when you're mounting these batteries and the floor is not level, you can kind of screw each foot to bring it secured and level and properly supported to an uneven floor. So originally when we came in here, right across the bottom was a bonding strip that bonded the neutral and ground bus bars together, because this was the main service panel at that point, and the main breaker was the first means of disconnect. Since we have now made the GridBOSS the service disconnect, we have removed that neutral to ground bond. We have made sure all the grounds and neutrals are separated. We have our ground bar is bonded to the case still, but our neutral bar is separate, so it is no longer bonded to the case or the ground, because everything downstream of that original service disconnect and original neutral to ground bond needs to be completely isolated. Alright, so here on our EG Chargeverter Plus, I'm going to show you the settings. So again, we don't have a 2-wire start connected. This is a manual generator that's going to be manually pulled out and started when needed. So what I've basically been told is the only real important reading here is the voltage for the batteries being set at 56.4 volts. I do believe the voltage start and voltage stop are important too. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I thought, you know, depending on the voltage of the batteries, that's going to be the parameters that it's actually going to start charging the batteries at. So if we connect this, it's reading a certain voltage. Basically, it's going to charge at 56.4. Once this hits 56.4 volts is when it's going to stop accepting charge or sending charge out of that generator to the battery. One thing I've noticed about this Chargeverter Plus is if this DC breaker is on, you do hear the fans in here running. On the original Chargeverter, that is not the case, at least in my case in my basement. One benefit of this Chargeverter Plus over the original Chargeverter is that this is UL listed, and so it can be legally installed in the US and inspected, whereas that original Chargeverter did not carry that UL listing. Alright, so right here on the side of the GridBOSS is our Wi-Fi dongle. That's what connects this system to the web to give the customer monitoring to their system. Right here we've got our integrated rapid shutdown switch. So depending on your AHJ, that is a code compliant way to have rapid shutdown. In many cases, if you do locate this inside somewhere rather than out here by the meter, you may need to install a separate push button rapid shutdown switch by the meter. That may also be the case if you have Tigos with monitoring or optimization and you need to use the CCA and TAP. Right here you got these nice lifting handles for picking up the MID and hanging it on the wall. We've got these nice little latching levers to open and close the GridBOSS. Got a nice weather tight seal to keep everything in here free from moisture and debris. And you've got a nice little locking latch there if you want to lock the system out from anybody that may tamper with it. So if you're installing this system on your home, a lot of people might forget a couple really key things that you're going to need to order. So in this case, we've got the FlexBOSS inverter bundled with the GridBOSS MID. We also had to order that Eaton CSR breaker to make the GridBOSS service entrance rated. We've got our two 16 kilowatt hour indoor wall mount batteries here. We have to separately order these indoor buildable conduit boxes, which makes this all enclosed from anybody touching any current carrying conductors, and it also makes for a nice clean install into the inverter. You're going to have to order a set of those EG4 paralleling cables, right? These batteries only come to run into the FlexBOSS itself. In this case, we've paralleled them together. So in this case, we've ordered the EG4 Chargeverter Plus to clean up that power and charge the batteries. In addition, we had to order from a local supply house this L1430R outlet, this little indoor load center with a 30 amp breaker to protect that AC coming in at 30 amps. We had to order that generator inlet outlet outside as well. Many cases you're going to have to order a separate grounding bar for the inside of this. Usually when a main service panel has its neutrals and grounds bonded, they're going to be all mixed up through both bus bars. And so it's much easier to just install a new ground bar, disconnect the existing bars from the case, and then just pull all the grounds out and relocate them to one single ground bar. In this case, the electrician set us up for success. The grounds and neutrals were already installed on separate bars, and they were just bonded with that one strap. So we were able to just remove that strap, run 4-wire in here, and just have all our grounds and neutrals isolated. I think we only had to move like one circuit. If you're utilizing the smart ports for AC coupling or for smart load or load shedding, make sure to order some breakers that are compatible with the smart ports in there. That can either be an Eaton BR style breaker, or it can also be those, I don't think they're ABB breakers. The name is not coming to me, but you can also order that breaker kit directly from Signature Solar that are also compatible with all those ports. So we also had to order this generator inlet plug. In this case, it's a 50 amp generator, so we need to order a plug that was compatible with his existing generator plug. We also had to order this inner system bonding jumper to upgrade the existing grounding electrode system. We had to order 2 8-foot ground rods, 5/8 with some acorn clamps, and some bare number 6 copper to run that new GEC out of the GridBOSS down through the inner system bonding jumper and to both of the 8-foot ground rods. Aside from that, you're just going to need your basics, like probably a lot of 2-inch PVC, some coupling, some 90s, some terminal adapters, some lock rings, some anti-short bushings. You're going to need 3/4 or 1 inch. In this case, we had 3/4 from the existing system over into the GridBOSS, and then we ran 1 inch from the FlexBOSS 21 for that circuit from the inverter into the GridBOSS. Well, everyone, that's pretty much all we've got for you today. As always, I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Till next time, take care.